Selling a little or a lot? Shopify helps you do your thing, however you cha-ching. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. From the launch your online shop stage to the first real-life store stage, all the way to the did we just hit 1 million orders stage. Shopify's there to help you grow. Whether you're selling scented soap or offering outdoor outfits, Shopify helps you sell everywhere. From their all-in-one e-commerce platform to their in-person POS system, wherever and whatever you're selling, Shopify's got you covered. Shopify helps you turn browsers into buyers with the internet's best converting checkout, 36% better on average compared to other leading commerce platforms, and sell more with less effort thanks to Shopify Magic, your AI-powered all-star. Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S., and Shopify's the global force behind Allbirds, Rothy's, and Brooklinen, and millions of other entrepreneurs of every size across 175 countries. Plus, Shopify's award-winning help is there to support your success every step of the way, because businesses that grow with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/start selling, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/start selling now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/start selling.
Welcome to the RuPaul's Drag Race recap show for All Stars 9, episode 8, titled Make Your Own Kind of Rusic. My name's Joe Batance, and I am joined, as always, by our very own cover girl from the podcast Bravo, Bravo, effing Bravo. Please say...
And how do I accentuate these rolls hanging and show off these titties?
To Mr. Nathan Patrick Brown. Hello, Nathan.
Hey, Joe. May I call you mother?
Yes, everybody does. Anyway, I pulled that clip here. I don't know why I forgot that Taylor wasn't going to be here. So I actually pulled it thinking it was Taylor, and then I was like, and then I realized after I pulled it, like, wait, Nathan's here. I'm like, meh.
Still fits.
Still fits. Right? Anyway, Nathan Patrick Brown, how the hell are you? It's a sound for sore ears.
Oh, so happy to be here, Joe. Thanks for having me back on this, the most exciting episode of the season.
I was talking to your best friend, Mr. Christian Ochoa, right before we recorded, and he was like, "Oh, finally, I'm here at home." He was traveling a lot this month. He goes, "So should I watch this season?" And I was like, "Meh."
Yeah.
Meh. But I don't want to be the thing. You can shit on the show, Nathan, because you haven't been on in a while. But I feel like I shit on this show all the time, right? So I'm not going to shit on the show.
I'm actually coming around to this non-elimination format. There was a point throughout this episode where I thought, oh, it's nice that we've got all of these queens. And it's not dropping off one by one. I'm like, oh, it's good to spend time with them. And very quickly I was like, ugh.
If they were honest, then I would be like, okay, this is fun.
Yeah.
But it's just like the lack of just like awareness of acknowledging of what's happening. I just don't like it very much. I don't like it. By the way, Nathan and I had some sparkling conversation over at Just Between Us Girls. I talked about, I went to go see Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. I talked about my very passionate obsession with Guy Pearce in that movie. It's just like so 90s hot gay guy. I wonder, would he'd have a makeover? He'd still be hot now, though. I mean, just those cheekbones and that jaw. Anyway, and we talked about Scandal that I can't even mention on here. Like, it was a long episode, Nathan. But if you want to hear the kind of stuff that Nathan and I chat about before we record a show, head over to patreon.com/afterthoughtmedia, join the executive tier level and above, and you can get Just Between Us Girls. And once again, executive tier and exclusive tier, you can do a 7-day free trial. You just got to go to patreon.com/afterthoughtmedia. Try it out. Check it out. Do you want to hear this episode? Do your free trial and get to hear all kinds of scandal. But there's a bleeped out portion about Robert Mata. Can't reveal what it was. But I'm sure Robert's
so dirty.
Robert's at the gym right now, and he's gonna be like wondering,
Josito, I don't know what you're talking about.
And like,
you're so nasty.
I'm gonna be getting those text messages from Robert Mata. But anyway, so you can try that out. Check it out. Patreon.com/afterthoughtmedia. Not only that, I'm gonna keep fucking plugging this shit until it hits the T with myself, Jay Ellis, Lori Roggenkamp, maybe Nathan Patrick Brown in the future, is over at anywhere you get your podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Even you can copy, all the links are in the show notes, so you can copy that link if you don't have it on your thing and just paste it in whatever podcast app you're using. I've been listening to the episodes, Nathan. I don't know if you have, over in the public feed, and they are so good. The latest episode, there's a new episode coming out Wednesday. There was the latest episode was really good. I heard, what have I heard? I of course heard the episode where, this is a sad episode, I shouldn't be plugging this. Lori suffers a tragedy in her family. She discusses that. But in that same episode, Jay talks about his house getting broken into. I talked about my dad chopping his finger off.
Wow. That was a rough week.
Yeah, it's a dramatic Yeah, there was one today where I listened to, I think it was episode 6 or 7, where I asked Lori if I could bring a ventriloquist dummy to her wedding, and would that count as a +1? Like, guys, the tea is so good. Maybe you're a former Patreon supporter. Maybe you've never been a Patreon supporter. You don't know what we're talking about. Again, the tea, you're missing out. Go there, check it out. It'll be your new favorite show. I am telling you right now, it'll be your new favorite show. All right. This week, the girls get into quick drag and take erotic pics in exotic places. For the main challenge, the girls need to create a look based on a song from RuPaul's catalog. In the end, Roxy Andrews and Plastique Tiara were the top 2 all-stars of the week, pitting them in a lip-sync battle for their charities. In the end, Roxy Andrews took home the win and the right to give one queen the snip, which she used to pay back Angeria Paris Van Michaels. Nathan Patrick Brown, I have 3 questions for you. What did you think of that lip sync? Did the right queens win the challenge? And did the right queen get the snip go?
I loved the lip sync. I thought Roxy with the nail file was just amazing. Like, it's such a simple bit, but the way she embodied the character, I was like, this is why she's like the best lip syncer on the show. I thought she was fantastic. I think it was the right top 2. I think that was pretty accurate according to moi. And the right person gets snipped. I guess since Plastique couldn't be snipped, yeah, like, why not go for eye for an eye, for a toe, for a leg, like with Angie and Roxy, this back and forth. Like, it's actually made the Ruby snippers, which are quite ineffectual, a little bit funny and interesting to watch. So I was fine with Roxy just going straight there, not doing shenanigans, and just saying, here you go, Angie.
Yeah. I agree with a lot of what you said. I think, but I want to talk about some discourse that's been on Twitter that I've seen. But I do want to say something, though. It's hard to see, but I looked for it. If you guys go back and look, once they name that Roxy is the winner, in the background, you have to really squint your eyes to see this. All the girls are clapping except Angeria. Has this look on her face because she knows what's going to happen. She knows the second they name Roxy. Just look at her. Mm-hmm. She just has like this stone look on her face, and they cut to her a couple of, not her, but you see the group in the background a couple of times, and you can just even tell the body language there that she knows what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. So there's been this discourse online about oh, look at this. This is old school drag and how much better it is than, I guess I'll call it new school drag and the new way of lip syncing. This is how it's done. And look, I'm not going to take anything away from Roxy. She's an amazing lip syncer. She did a great job and she deserved the win, everything. But I don't think it's fair to make a statement about that based on Plastique Tiara, who's just not a good lip syncer.
Well, I thought her lip sync was all right.
Yeah.
But she's up against Roxy Andrews.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, what if she went up against, who would be a great modern lip syncer?
Georges.
Yes. You know what? Well, yes. All right, Georges. Like if you go up against like a Georges or like a Nitra, I don't know, like
Oh yeah.
somebody like that who's doing different kinds of stuff than the old school drag. I'd like to see what happens there.
Well, I think no matter what happened, how Plastique did, Roxy was going to win that lip sync because narratively, that's so much more interesting to see her snip Angeria and to have Plastique have this trajectory where she's like got the most badges but no lip sync wins. Like it sort of levels the playing field. So it's just I can't see, no matter how well Plastique might have done, I can't see her ever winning that lip sync.
Yeah, I agree. Especially to that kind of song. I agree with Nathan. I think the right queens did win the challenge. And, you know, when you look at the scoreboard, when it's who to snip, I mean, Angeria makes the most sense. Who to snip, even by any standards, not just revenge, but even Plastique standards, the Plastique formula, which is you eliminate the person with the same number of badges. Oh, no, Angeria's short by one for Roxy, right? But
yeah, but they count from before you got your most recent badge, not from the badges that you have after you just won the badge.
We're going to talk about that in a second. You're right. We're going to talk about that in a second. And so, but like you cut the person based on the Plastique formula, that Angeria was actually one of the few that she could cut.
Yeah.
So she was the right person to go.
Yeah. All-star, all winners, they did the thing where it's like, oh, everyone gets a turn to be snipped. Like, everyone gets a turn. It was, like, too fair. They're not doing that this year. They're just saying the same three girls will get snipped over and over. And so if that's what they're doing, like, sure.
All right. Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we take a break? And when we come back, we're going to talk about the rest of the episode.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Baker's, where you'll find over 30,000 mouth-watering choices that excite your inner foodie. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices, plus extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week. You can also save up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with fuel points. More savings and more inspiring flavors make shopping Baker's worth it every time. Baker's, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
And we are back. I pressed a whole bunch of wrong buttons, and there was this cacophony of like different sounds from Afterthought Media playing all at once. We're going to talk about the rest of the episode, but I want to warn everybody. I don't know where Nathan falls in this. All my notes are very front loaded at the top of the show, and then there's almost, if any, notes the rest of the show. So I have a ton of notes for the beginning, and then almost none for once they go into the workroom. But let's see where Nathan falls on this. After the lip sync, the girls enter the workroom and chat before they de-drag. Angeria explains why she gave the snip to Gottmik. Nina claims Angeria's math doesn't add up. And Gottmik tells Angeria too can play at that game. Nathan, let's stop here. We're going to stop here, actually. It seems on this season, a lot of the action takes place in that talk after the episode. But did you have any thoughts on everything that happens here in this after the lip sync section?
Yeah, this little section felt a little bit repetitive to me. It's just like Gottmik comes in, she's being a little extra with the bad mood about the snipping, and I struggle to get invested because I'm just like, yeah, you got snipped, who gives a fuck? Like, Gottmik's sort of just been a bit down in the dumps since Nikki Glazer's jokes didn't land. So I'd rather she just realize, you know, that it's a fucking show and she should just be there to have fun like Vanjie instead of just like moping and making a big deal over a snipping.
I want to talk in little pieces here. So the first thing that happens is a little bit of chit chat. They ask Angeria about why she did what she did, why she gave Gottmik the snip and whatever, but she doesn't answer. Gottmik comes in, she says her highs and yada, 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 looking glum. And then Angeria goes into her explanation about why she cut Gottmik. And I'll be honest with you, the logic made sense. You know, she said, she goes, look, it's not personal. She said she was following. Well,
but it is a little.
But hold on for a second. Hold on. Either way, we could take her and not at her word, or we can. You'll see what I mean in a second. But let's just say she's right. Okay. Yeah. Not personal. She was just following Plastique's advice, you know, which is this weird strategy where you eliminate somebody who has the same number of badges as you. She sees Gottmik as her competition, and then later on in a little bit says, and also look, it's revenge for snipping her, and which Gottmik had forgotten about. Okay, so whether you agree with it or not, here is the logic. Okay. Yeah. Then Nina comes in. Nina chimes in all of a sudden. I don't know who asked Nina. She's like, the math doesn't add up. Because now this is what you were referring to earlier, Nathan, because she was saying, well, once you won and got your badge, you now had 3 stars? Is that what she has?
Yeah.
Yeah. You would now have 3 stars. Gottmik only has 2. So you actually weren't following Plastique's advice. And Jiria's counter is, well, she had 2 stars before she won the badge.
Yeah.
Well, so what's your take on this?
It's, numbers are hard. Plastique's theory makes sense to me. Just butt out, Nina. Like, who really gives a fuck?
See, I think Angeria's logic was correct because she did it based on when she had 2 stars. So you're trying to prevent people
from catching up,
who also were in the 2-star zone, from catching up with you. It almost reminds me of this metaphor that people use for Mexicans who support Trump. And it's always about how, like, they climbed the ladder to get over the wall, and then they pushed the ladder down so no one else could follow them, Yeah. And it's the same thing here. And I don't think it's in terms of a RuPaul's Drag Race competition. I think you're right. I think you do the 2-star person because there's only going to be 4. Is it 3 or 4 people?
Apparently 3.
Okay, 3. So we already know Roxy and Plastique are there, right?
Yep.
You want to guarantee who's the one who's going to have the most threat of taking that away from you? It's going to be Gottmik.
Gottmik, yep.
What's the point of stopping Roxy or Plastique? They're pretty much already there. And
also, Angeria just keeps getting snipped by people that she snipped. So she's already pissed off Roxy. She's already pissed off Gottmik. She may as well just double down and just keep pissing them 2 off and not make any other enemies in the room.
Yes. Then Gottmik comes in and she explains her side, right? She said, well, first of all, Gottmik says she didn't remember snipping Angeria. Okay. But then she starts telling you, well, here's why I did it. She says, and then she goes, I have mostly quotes here. She was being fair, but Angeria was playing chess. What the fuck does that mean? Is chess inherently unfair? 1. 2, I'm not going to do the RuPaul's Best Friends race, but she came on this show, a reality competition show with a format that we've seen before.
Yeah.
And we're 8 episodes in.
Yeah.
And now she's like, oh, you're actually playing a game? And I was like, yeah, bitch. What have you been doing, right? And then she says, if you want to play that, I can play that game too. You should have been. From episode 1, you should have been. And then she says, this is my favorite part, and this is why when you laughed at when she said it's not personal. Then she goes, being cunty in that cunty voice she can do. She goes, it's not personal. It's drag. and Jerry was like, I would have been in the gym like, yeah, bitch, I said that 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
But she said that they're like, I'm doing a sick fucking burn. You know what? You want to play. It's like saying, like, we were playing Monopoly and you took Park Place and Boardwalk and built houses on it. And then I landed on it. I was playing the game and I landed and you're like, okay, you owe me $2,000 in rent or whatever it is. And I go, oh, is that what we're doing here? We're playing Monopoly?
Chanel's in jail, by the way.
Yeah, Chanel. Oh, Chanel's just the bank. She's already quit. And she's mortgaged all her properties. And she's... anyway, she's like, oh, well then you know what? If you want to play Monopoly, I can play Monopoly too. It's not personal.
Yeah.
It's Monopoly. And we're like, yeah. We've been playing this. I don't know where you're... Okay. We all agreed to show up, have dinner, take out a board game, take out pieces, give each other money, roll the dice, give each other $200 for passing. Like, we've been doing this. What do you mean? It was like a weird retort.
And that's the thing, like, if this was another All-Stars, you'd be home by now. So, like, why so mopey? You're on the show. It's not elimination. This is a minor inconvenience.
By the way, notice Gottmik also lifted that quote, too, from Alaska.
Oh, yeah, she's a thief.
She can't even see her own shit.
At least, though, you know how, like, the Ruby Snippers hasn't actually stopped someone from winning a badge?
No.
But, like, if you think about it, last week, if she did snip Plastique like she probably should have, then Plastique wouldn't have a badge this week. So, like, in a vague way, there has been some impact from these fucking Ruby Snippers.
Oh, no, there has, but never in, like, the way that, yeah.
Not directly.
I have the quotes. She said, I think I was playing a game of what's fair, and you're playing chess. How was she unfair, Nathan? What did Angeria, you may not like it because you were the one that was snipped, but how did Angeria do anything that was unfair?
Yeah, why was it considered fair when you snipped Angeria in the first place? Like, it doesn't... Yeah. I couldn't track it, and it turned me off her.
I've been off this Gottmik for a while.
Yeah, I know.
I don't like her. The next day, the girls enter the workroom ready to face whatever challenge may come their way. Gottmik breaks a light bulb on the way in. Chanel juggles and then reminds everyone that she still has yet to earn a badge. Next, RuPaul entered the workroom to announce this week's mini challenge. The girls need to get into quick drag and green screen photobomb vacation destinations from around the world. In the end, Nina West was named the winner of the challenge. All right, let's take the next day first. Well, very little happens, but if you have something to say about when they walk in.
Yeah, well, Chanel didn't take the stickers off of the apples before bringing them in to juggle them. And so...
Oh, yeah, you're right.
That's why she's not winning any badges. She doesn't have the attention to detail that she should. Like, what are you doing bringing in apples with stickers? Yuck.
The craft services play a big role in this segment because you have the apples, and we'll talk about it.
Bagels doubling as croissants.
Is that what it was supposed to be? I have in my notes, what do bagels have to do with Paris?
I think she was pretending they were croissants, and I was like, Mama, that's a bagel.
Okay, well, that answers that question. Yeah, it makes sense, actually. Okay, let's talk about the mini challenge. What did you think of that mini challenge?
I thought it wasn't very memorable. My main issue with it was all of the final result pictures were so off scale. Like, there was like, it looks like Georgia's standing next to RuPaul for all of them. Like, I don't know who did the Photoshop. But I was like, these look like miniature people next to like the big polar bear or...
Well, I think polar bears are big, Nathan.
Well, I think for that one, she was too tall for the polar
I think you're
bear.
right, actually. I think bears are rather large.
And then the sumo wrestler that was fisting Nina West looked like a little mini doll.
But I will say that Hawaiian guy was H.O.T. When is he going to be on the pit crew?
Yeah, I have no other thoughts.
I don't blame you, Nathan. It's like... There's not much to this episode. In fact, after this next segment, I don't really have much to say, if I'm being honest with you. Next, RuPaul announced this week's main challenge. The girls need to create from scratch runway eleganza that takes inspiration from one of RuPaul's songs. There's a whole way for the girls to choose their songs. It's not really interesting, but here's what they have. Yeah, so they have to do this thing. How would you explain it, Nathan? They instead of giving the privilege of choosing who their stuff first should be Nina who won the challenge.
Yeah.
They give it to Chanel because she was the first one to walk in the workroom. That was really weird.
Sort of felt like they wanted to give Chanel a little bit of a leg up because she's so struggling.
You know what? You're right. That's exactly what it was. So Chanel goes first and then she gets to choose somebody. And then they go around the room. Then the person who just chose, they get to choose their thing and then they choose somebody. And then this is what they land up with because they're basically choosing what song they're going to do. Chanel chose "Hey Sis, It's Christmas." Angeria chose the song "Cake and Candy." Gottmik chose the song "New Friends Silver, Old Friends Gold." Vanjie chose "Kitty Girl." Roxy chose "Lady Cowboy." Plastique chose "Star Baby." Georges chose "I Bring the Beat." And then there was nothing else left. Nina West was the last one, and she was left with "Cha Cha Bitch."
Just on that, what would you have picked if you had a choice?
I guess...
Well, I never want to hear Cha Cha Bitch ever fucking again, so I wouldn't have picked that one.
I guess Kitty Girl. And that's only because it's the only song I really know from that list.
Yeah. And Nina as well was like, why are they letting the designer girls pick materials first. And it's like, well, Nina, does it really matter? Like, no matter what Nina got, theoretically, she would have butchered. So it's like, really, Nina?
Well, the other thing, too, is these girls a couple of weeks ago were like clutching their pearls. First of all, Gottmik accuses Angeria and Chanel of being an alliance.
Oh, yeah.
But you see the alliance play out right in this thing. Gottmik chooses Vanjie chooses Roxy chooses Plastique.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, oh, well, you just saw the alliance. Boom, 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 boom. And then they're like, what do you mean there's an alliance? We don't know what you're talking about. Gaslighting everybody. And there you see it play out right there in front of you.
And Chanel didn't pick Nina first, but also Nina didn't give that freebie badge to Chanel. So
I wonder if Nina is kicking herself. Like, why would you give it to Roxy? Now Roxy has 4 badges.
I know, but we're all forgetting that she got given a badge. They're all like, wow, she's got 4 badges. She's killing the game. I'm like, one of them was a freebie.
Yeah, exactly. And so, like, Nina should have given it to Chanel because Nina was so concerned with people thinking there's a... This is actually going back to what I said. She was so concerned with people thinking she had an alliance with Chanel because they gaslit her that they're not in an alliance, that she didn't give it to Chanel. Meanwhile, now that there's no stakes, Vanjie and Gottmik and Roxy and Plastique are just flaunting the alliance in everyone's faces. And it's just like, oh. I like too when like RuPaul explained the challenge, everybody was like, ooh, it was really weird. Like it was weird. All right, in the workroom, Vanjie struggles with sewing. Angeria feels vindicated that she chose Gottmik because of this week's design challenge. Roxy wants to avoid looking hokey pokey. Nina assures Chanel that she doesn't mind that she was chosen last. Angeria helps out Chanel. Finally, Plastique realized she needs to do well if she doesn't want to get the chop. Next, RuPaul entered the workroom for some table visits. Georges thinks the word is homage. RuPaul cries in front of Gottmik, then tells her that he loves her. Roxy chose Cowboy because it was harder. Nina West has a street named after her. RuPaul reassures Chanel. And finally, Angeria seeks advice from RuPaul about her outfit. Okay, so let's talk about the workroom. I have no notes for this workroom, but do you have anything to say?
Yeah, I have a couple.
Yeah, go ahead. Please, thank you.
So this RuPaul asks this Nina West, like, oh, how did you get a street named after you? And she goes, you know what? I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
I'm thinking if someone named a street after me, I'd find out how that happened and maybe thank the people who organized that. And she's like, you know what? I've never thought of it. I was like, find out maybe, bitch. What?
Do you think that this street is on Google Maps?
Let's find it. The Nina West Way.
Nina West Way. Wait. Okay, wait. Hold on for a second. I'm calling shenanigans.
Does it not exist?
Oh, wait. Hold on. No. So, first of all, on Google Maps, it's called... This is almost offensive. On Google Maps, it's called the Nina West Way street sign. And I'm showing you right now. It's not even really a street. It's an alley.
Oh, no.
And it's still called the original name, which is Hull. I believe. Let me go back here and make sure.
So they just gave her a street sign, not an actual street.
Let me see here. Hold on. Where Nina West? Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh no. Hull. It says Hull Alley. Yeah, I was right. I did it right. Nina West street sign. Yeah, it's called Hull. It's not even a street, and they didn't even rename the alley. They just called it Hull Alley. They just put a street sign there. So it's an alley. It's not even really a street.
Shenanigans.
Yeah. The truth had been found out.
Yeah, I can't find it on Apple.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's just a street sign. It's a street sign you can take a picture with. It wasn't even a real street.
Do you think people are taking pictures with the Nina West Way?
Who would take a picture of that? That would be if I'm like, oh my God, Nathan, come with me. I want to go take a picture next to Mogami Boulevard.
I kind of would love that. Hold up a sign saying protect queer art.
Yeah, protect queer streets.
Oh, that's funny. What else did I think about this section? Okay, so when Ru's talking to Mick, they're talking about the fucking friendships or whatever, and Ru starts crying, explaining the lyrics of New Friends Silver, Old Friends Gold, as if it's the most profound song in history. And I couldn't believe that.
Okay, I've never heard this song. 1, 2.
Yes, you have. It was like a runway song one year.
I'll have to listen. I'm sitting there watching the runway, like listening to music. So I was laughing. I'm all like, we can probably name about 3 or 4 people off the top of my head that she's been friends with since 1985 that she's dropped like a fucking bad habit. I'm sure Matthew Anderson was like, right, bitch? Right? So A. B, and I put this note and I thought of it later. This is how performative this RuPaul is. Like, she's like, Gottmik was sad for like 10 minutes. And RuPaul's like, how you feeling, kiddo?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I love you. And I really mean it. I love you, kiddo. Right? And hugs her and all this shit, right?
Well, did she invite the hug? From watching it, it looks like Gottmik just walked up and got a hug.
Gottmik went in for it. And then this Chanel is feeling so down. Hasn't gotten a badge. Feels RuPaul is ignoring her. Is just feeling really low on herself because she feels like she let RuPaul down. Like, literally opens her heart out about how she's like really down in the dumps. And RuPaul's like, tough titties, bitch. Well, she's like, do
you know who she did let down? The Anxiety and Depression Association of America.
Oh yeah, they
must be fucking depressed and anxious watching this show.
Counting our dough, and Chanel's going out every week. A woman who works and shops at Chico's. You know,
yeah,
she's
Chanel,
still doing drag from 15 years ago.
And she was saying, like, you know, she feels like she's let Ru down because she quit season 1. But like, I barely remembered that.
Yeah. Do you think RuPaul remembered? RuPaul's like, oh, yeah.
And do you think Chanel would have won that season if she didn't quit?
That's a question for Robert Mata, not for me. Robert, went on Relaska Thoughts, make sure and address that question.
Yeah, because I'm interested to... it's been years since I've watched season 1, so I can't remember. But I don't know if it was going that way. I feel like the same thing was sort of happening in season 1 where she wasn't getting the flowers she thought she deserved. And so all the attention went to Nina Flowers. You know what? You should do this, Nathan, and anyone listening, you might forget that we have a voicemail line at speakpipe.com/afterthoughtmedia. If you have questions or topics you want to hear our senior technical advisor, Robert Mata, go to speakpipe.com/afterthoughtmedia. Say, Robert, can you address this? Robert, it'll be, we're going to call that segment Robert's Rules of Order. And that's where he's going to address all the topics and questions on speakpipe.com/afterthoughtmedia that you leave there. Nathan, you've brought up one. You want to know, do you think Chanel would have won? That's an excellent question for our new segment, Robert's Rules of Order. What's the multiverse like in the universe where Chanel didn't quit? I want to know how different her career trajectory would have been. And by the way, it doesn't have to be about All Stars 9. It could be about any drag sort of hypothetical topic or anything like that you want Robert to address on Relaska Thoughts. Speakpipe.com/afterthoughtmedia. All right. Back in the workroom, Nina leans into her body shape. Chanel struggles with her sewing machine. Plastique impresses Roxy, and Jerry doesn't mind helping Chanel. Nina asks Roxy for help making a glove. Roxy's too busy to help everyone. And finally, Angeria returns to the drawing board. It's runway day, and the girls get ready for the main stage. Roxy finished her look late into the night. Plastique still needs to finish her outfit. Vanjie dares Gottmik to cut Angie if Gottmik wins, and Roxy talks about her drag family, and Angeria reveals she has 10 children. Nathan, now you can give all your workroom stuff. Now you can talk about runway day. What do you got? Well, actually, not much happened. So yeah. Let me see. Okay, there was a lot of talk of Nina being naked in that sheer fabric, but like I didn't get naked. Like, and then she covered it up with a corset anyway. And I was like, I'm sure you're wearing pads and things. Like, it's not like it's the naked runway from season 8 or whatever. But I was like, okay, go off, sis. And then she's like, I made gloves, mama. But I was like, that was a disaster. Well, she goes, you know, like, I've never sewn a stitch in my life. And she goes, how do you make a glove? And I go, you trace your hand? And you, like, I was like, super obvious to me. Yeah, and that's what Roxy goes. She goes, trace your fucking hand. Yeah. I don't know. There was a lot going on there with Nina. With Plastique, I think it was actually kind of fun to see her go down to the wire and like rush her makeup in order to like work on that garment. Like, it's good to see people being ambitious. And it's like, oh my God, will she finish in time? Like, I'm so stressed. Same sort of thing with Roxy, like with the bedazzling or whatever. Like, I don't really care if you're stoning something with 1,000 stones. Like, no one asked for that, though. like, I hate writing on clothes, but I was like, yeah, okay, at least they're being ambitious, whereas some others weren't. The only other thing that was going on was Angeria, like, flip-flopping on what she was going to do. I thought it was kind of genius that she just said to Ru, like, oh, I've got a couple of options, what do you think? Like, none of them really ever seemed to ask Ru for advice, but the thing is she struggled with the follow-up on taking that advice. Like, and I think she should have just worn the gown.
I feel strangely RuPaul appreciates being asked directly for advice. It looked like she was like, oh, well, thank you.
Yeah, I feel like they all should do that.
Yeah.
But I think she probably shouldn't have listened to Ru's advice in that instance and just done a ball gown.
Yeah. And RuPaul even said, listen, don't take my advice kind of thing. The runway, Nathan, category is make your own kind of Rusic.
Sorry, I had one question. On Angeria having 10 kids thing, like, I don't know, who gives a shit? But Chanel goes, she's like one of the Duggars. I don't know who that is. Is that an American thing?
Yeah, there was this reality show. I can't remember what it was called. It was like, keep fucking and making kids or something like that, right? It's about this Mormon family. I think they're Mormon. From Christian religious family called the Duggars, right?
Uh-huh.
And that is like, the mom had like 18 kids, some crazy amount of kids.
Oh, wow.
Right? And it followed their lives. And then the show ended, and now there's this thing where, like, I think Josh Duggar, I could be wrong, but I think his name's Josh Duggar. What's funny is he got caught once, and it was sort of like, well, we don't know, and he was a kid, whatever, like molesting one of his sisters or something like that, right?
Ooh.
Or something weird like that, right?
Okay.
Something weird, okay? And then they were like, oh, that's weird. And then like a couple of years passed, and then he got Austin Wolfed. Like, where there's some other weird drama, and now he's in prison. Yeah, now that brother's in prison. He was like a rapist or something like that, raping the other kids. It's something weird. It's one of the
I
brothers.
thought it was like going to be like a little fun Von Trapp type reference, but no, that got dark.
Trap, okay. All right, yeah.
Are you still interested in hearing about people who have drag kids? That sort of was boring to me.
I just don't care.
Yeah.
I'm just like, all right. I just really do not care. Not like you're really raising them.
Do you think you have like little podcast children? Kristen Ochoa?
I don't know, because I met Kristen Ochoa in a podcasting program. He already existed. Do I have any? Listen, maybe there are people who've started a podcast and they just didn't tell me. If you started a podcast, you know what a lot of them are, probably. They're probably like, this fucking asshole started a podcast. I can do better than him. For whatever your motive was, if you listened to this and started a podcast, if I am intentionally or accidentally your podfather, please email me at joebatance@afterthought.media or send me a DM on Instagram at joebatance. Let me know. I don't think I've heard of anybody who is, but you never know.
Okay.
The runway. Oh, wait a minute. What about, did you start your podcast because of me?
Maybe in spite of you. Yeah.
Oh, really?
No, not in spite of you. But after listening for years to you, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, then you're one of my pod children.
Yeah, that's why I call you mother. Puppy? Am I allowed to say puppy?
Yeah. All right, here we go. Go ahead, Nathan.
Okay, the runway. Well, I liked that they played each song while they were walking down the runway. I thought that was probably my highlight. Shall we go through them? So Plastique, I thought, was very impressive. I thought she was the standout winner for me. It was amazing that she did all of that in the time allotted. Like, I think if she had more time, she could have added more structure or like reinforcements to the star. Like when she was walking down the runway, like the 2 points of the star sort of flopped over and I was like, oh, that's unfortunate. But like, I mean, incredible. What did you think of Plastique?
Who?
Plastique?
Just give me it was good. Give me your thoughts.
Okay, you don't want to check in? Okay.
No.
Georges.
I looked at them.
I thought it was interesting in the workroom how Georges was like, Ru always says you don't need to reinvent the wheel, because she absolutely did not, and she wore the same wheel from when she won on the last season.
I will say, it's now camp, and it amuses me that Georges will take the topic could be whatever. I couldn't even make a joke because last week it was Widow, no you don't, or whatever, and she wore the same kind of Georges outfit. She's just going to wear what she's going to wear, and I kind of love it. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Gottmik. Okay, I did not like this one. I thought she had like Michelle Visage hair for some reason, which I thought was ugly. And I hated that crafty cardboard clutch that she did. I don't know why T.S. Madison was frothing over that. Like, she's like, I need to buy that bag. And I was like, bitch, it's not a Birkin. Go get some cardboard and some like silver spray paint and you can make it yourself.
Yeah.
I thought it looked horrible. The dress itself, like, it looks like there was a lot of effort for little payoff. So it just looked like she wrapped shit around her body. So, I mean, I get that it's like, it might be fashion, but also I thought it was kind of weak. Sort of like she knew she wasn't going to win that week, so she phoned it in. Chanel, I thought was pretty mid. I mean, that was just a sparkly dress with some bows on it. I wasn't getting Christmas.
I think everything Chanel does is mid.
You know how last week she was like, maybe these girls have outgrown me. I was like, yeah, I think maybe that's it. And Rhea was like, no, don't talk like that. I'm like, no, the inner saboteur is sometimes correct. Anyway, Roxy, I loved the presentation of Roxy's. I thought she did really well. Yeah, I didn't like the stoned letters on the back. Maybe like Lady Cowboy on the leg was fine, but the RuPaul bit on the back, I was like, I don't know why you're doing that. But I thought she looked pretty great. Vanjie was kind of boring to me. I thought she looked very mid. Nina was really good for Nina, but I still didn't like it. I didn't like the fabric on the hat and the corset and the gloves. And I think she was just like, wow, I think I'm going to be in the top because I made gloves. And I was like, well, I'm pretty sure Roxy made those gloves. And I don't know if you watched Untucked, but in Untucked, she's like, guys, I think I might be in the top this week. And I was like, are you fucking Delulu? She did. I was like, surely not, Neens. Surely not. I get that this is the best you've ever looked, but come on, doll. Look around the room. Yeah. Anyway, and then Angie, I thought was really good, but yeah, she should have just gone the gown. No, that's the looks.
All right, very good. That's the looks. On the main stage, Roxy Andrews and Plastic Tiara named the top 2 All-Stars of the week. Now they have to face off in a lip-sync battle for their charities. The song, No One Gets the Prize by Diana Ross. In the end, Roxy Andrews is named the winner of the lip-sync. She uses the Ruby Snippers for the last time on Angeria Paris Van Michaels. Nathan Patrick Brown, any final thoughts on the episode?
Yeah, I just think it's so funny how they're not doing negative critiques this year, or they're not showing them. And so I just almost feel like they're reaching for positive things to say. Like Rue says to Vanjie, she goes, oh, I love those belt buckles you have on. And I'm like, fuck, if that's the most positive thing you can say about Vanjie's outfit, like I'd rather just hear the negative critiques. And Michelle was like, oh, shapes are a hard shape to cut. Stars are a hard shape to cut. Bolero jackets are hard to make. And I was like, all right, well, thanks for letting me know that. And the only other thing is this is the final week for the Ruby Snippers, and I'm not sure why. Do you have any theories on like what they're going to do next or why they're stopping
episodes 11 and 12, there's a 2-part finale. So that's episodes 11 and 12. Okay. Uh-huh. We have episode 9 next week. Episode 10, I believe, is when around the time that they did, I think, don't they do like a talent show? But they did it late in the all winter season, right?
Oh, a talent show. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's during that is when they do
give 4 stars,
give the badges and stuff like that. So it's a whole thing. And then yeah. So I think tomorrow, and so next week's the only one that they have left, really. So it's like it's essentially next week is probably like the last competitive week that they have.
And do you think that it's going to do like a Chanel based challenge just to try and get her to win a badge? I mean, I guess they tried with the Christmas thing this week.
But yeah, I know. What is the challenge next week?
It's a Rusical. Anyway, yeah, they're all my thoughts.
All right, Nathan, enough silliness. Well, that's going to do it for this week's episode of RuPaul's Drag Race Recap. Be sure to join us next week and every week as we continue to discuss, dissect, and deconstruct each brand new episode of RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars Season 9. So, for Nathan Patrick Brown and myself,
cha-cha bitch, until next week.
Thank you for listening to Drag Race Recap. Have something to say? Leave us a voicemail at speakpipe.com/afterthoughtmedia. You can also email us at dragracerecap@afterthought.media. For more Drag Race and LGBTQ content, support us over at patreon.com/afterthoughtmedia. This podcast was produced by Sabrina Vadabancourt. Taylor the Latte Boy has another podcast. It's called Pod is My Co-Pilot. You can find it wherever you get your podcasts. You can also follow Taylor on Instagram at PIMCTaylor. Follow Joe Batance on Instagram at Joe Batance. Special thanks to these expensive tier Patreon supporters. Anonymous, April Pacheco, Astute Girl, Brad Coley, Doofus Maximus, Effie Wop, E. Smith, Emma, Philskett Pony, Flying Suki, Humble Pine, Isaac Martin, Jade Thomas Plank, Kathy Zender, Lauren Eckert, Lucy Cutteresco, Luke Stamen, Mary S., Matt Stewart, Mike Yeager, Mickey Baker, Poppy Woods, Ricardo the Hoodeda, Robert NYC, Sarah Yu, Runner Brandon, Tom Bombs, Travi Cosmos, and Troy Anderson. Drag Race Recap is an Afterthought Media podcast.